So in this video we're going to look at cue action and specifically controlling the cue properly. So we can't actually control the object ball or the cue ball before we get perfect control over our cue. So the only thing that we're holding when we play snooker is this cue. So it's really important that we get certain things right with our technique. So that when we're faced with a difficult shot, just like this long range blue here, that you understand certain principles in your cue action, and it means you should be able to get down to these shots and have much more success. Right, so we're going to have a look at this little exercise here, and the idea of this routine is we're going to try and pop these reds, taking a colour after each one of the reds. Now, because this video is about cue action and specifically controlling the cue a lot better, I'm going to break down into 4 areas the main things that we need to work on so that we have a more consistent cue action. So the first thing and the first problem I see with players is that they haven't got a proper plan for the shot when they get down to these shots. So you see players get down to the shot and then they'll have a look at the angle, have a little mess around on the shot, so they haven't worked out comfortably and properly before they get down to the shot exactly what they're doing. The second thing I see is that players haven't got any definitive pauses in their cue action. So you see people feathering up for the shot, they're preparing to play the shot, and then all of a sudden they'll just come back and forward and they'll play the shot in one go. The third thing we want to look at is the backswing. So a common thing that you see in players is that the backswing is rushed and it's too fast and you're just losing a bit of control. And then the fourth thing that we're moving on to, which leads on from the backswing being too fast, is then that the delivery is rushed. So if you have a backswing that's too fast, the delivery is generally rushed. So that's the 4 things that we need to concentrate on. Making sure we know what we're doing when we get down to the shot, making sure we've got some pauses in our cue action so we're nice and in control, a nice controlled slow backswing, and then a nice and controlled delivery. So if I was to look at this first shot then, I need to pop this red and I'm going to play a little screw shot to just leave myself a high angle on the black. So I know that's exactly what I'm doing now, and if I've got that high angle, it means I can get nicely to these next 3 reds then. So if I was to get down to this shot, I know exactly what I'm playing, do my feathers, pulls at the white, nice smooth backswing, and then the delivery. So you can see there that those are all the things that we need to do to have nice control over the cue each time. So this time I'm playing a little stun shot off the cushion, up the table for these 3 reds. So I know exactly what I'm playing. I'm playing into an area for all of these 3 reds. So I'm going to walk into the shot just like normal. And then let's do our things with our cue action. So we feather enough, pulls at the white, nice smooth back, nice and smooth on the way forward. So you can see there that this is really important that we have this nice cue control. So sometimes I think it's common for people to think that, well, the pot that's immediately in front of them is quite a simple pot. So for this next red, I just need to roll this red through. But actually, in snooker, that's not necessarily what we're worried about. We're held to really high standards in terms of our positional play as well as the pot. So even though the pot in this case is quite a simple pot, I need to get the white precisely exactly where I want it on my next ball after this red, which in this case is the black. So again, I know exactly what shot I'm playing, just trying to leave the white a little bit high again. So feathering up, pause, nice smooth backswing, and then a nice smooth delivery. So you can see there, that's what we're trying to do on each shot. We're trying to have a proper plan for the shot. I'm doing my feathers. Once I've finished, I have a little pause at the white, then a nice smooth backswing, and then a nice smooth delivery. Right, so let's look at my cue action as I play these few shots in this little exercise. So I know that I'm playing a little screw back for the black, so that's all decided. And then I get down to the shot, nice little feathers, pause at the white, smooth backswing, and then the delivery. So I'm playing a little stun shot for the reds into the same pocket that I'm potting the black into now. So I know exactly what I'm playing, little stun shot, feather up to the white, little pause, smooth backswing, and play the shot. So let's just grab the black, put the black back on the spot. So this time I'm going to pop the bottom red of these 3 here. I'm going to play a little screw shot to try and leave myself high on the black again, so I can play a little stun shot for the other 2 reds. So I know exactly what I'm playing, feathers up to the shot, little pause at the white, smooth on the way back, and smooth on the way forward. So I've got a little angle to just bounce off the cushion for the two reds now, so that's exactly what I'm playing, for the two reds into the same pocket as the black again. So decided on the shot, down to the shot, little feathers, pulls at the white, back nice and slow, and then through the ball. So if I just grab the black again here, so black back on the spot. So exactly the same here. I'm just playing a little run through this time, just leave myself high on the black so I can just bounce up for the red again. So it's exactly what I'm playing. So little feathers up to the white, pulls at the white, smooth back, and then forward. So I've got that little angle on the black now. So if I just play just topspin on this, I should bounce off for the red into the opposite pocket that I'm playing the black into now. So just going to play topspin, so it's exactly what I'm playing. Feathers for the shot, pulls at the white, back nice and smooth, and through the shot nice and smooth. So we're just nicely on this red now, just a little natural angle to roll it in. If I roll it just gently on and off the cushion, should have a nice shot on the black, so that's the shot I'm playing. So feather up to the white, little pause at the white, back nice and smooth, and through nice and smooth. And then again, nice little shot on the black. I'm just going to roll the black in because there's no need to play position now. I've got no more reds left, so that's exactly what I'm playing. So down to the shot, feathers for the shot, back nice and smooth, and forward nice and smooth. Now another thing that I wanted to talk about in this video is that we modulate the power of the shot by using different length backswings. So you'll have seen that in that exercise that I just did there, that I was pulling the cue back different amounts depending on the shot that I was playing. So a good rule of thumb for me on this is that if I'm playing shots that are a 5 or above in terms of power, then I'm using a full length backswing. Anything below a 5 and I'm using smaller backswings so that I can just accelerate positively through the white ball. So if I'm going a 5 or a 6 in terms of power and I want to generate more spin on the white and use a bit of extra cue speed, I do it by pulling the cue all the way back, and then that gives me a nice long runway to smoothly and gently build the cue speed up without having to jerk your arm at the shot and tense all your muscles up. If you're doing below 5 in power, then you just want to come back nice and short, and that means you can still accelerate positively through the shot. You don't want to come back too long because then you've got all of this wasted area here where you're not accelerating positively through the white ball. So if I was to look at this red here and I was potting this red and just playing a little gentle run through onto the black, we can see on this shot, if I was playing that, my backswing wouldn't be very long. So you can see it was just a little gentle run through. Now, if I was to play this shot and I wanted to, so I've put myself with a little angle just off straight now. If I was to pot this and I'm potting the red and trying to play the black into the same pocket that I'm potting the red into, I need more power now and I want to gradually build the cue speed up. So I'd feather up there and then I'd use a nice long backswing and accelerate the cue. So you can see when I needed more power, I just came back nice and long, gave myself a nice long runway to generate the cue speed. When you don't need all that power, just back off how far you bring the cue back, so bring it back a little bit shorter, and then you can still have that nice positive delivery. And that then brings us on to these long shots. So you saw me play a long blue just like this one at the beginning of this video. So let's look at some of the common problems that stop players having a higher success rate at potting these balls. So one of the things is that you see a lot of players, they tend to have their actions that are just too short. So if they were attempting this shot, you see players go to play the shot and then they've got a very short action in terms of their backswing, and they try and generate all the cue speed very, very quickly in their action. And by trying to generate the cue speed very, very quickly in their action, it just means that you have to tense your muscles up and you can't go through the ball nice and smoothly. So just like we talked about using longer backswings, what's much more beneficial on a shot like this is to use a nice long backswing, and then it allows you to gradually build the speed of the cue up so you're not having to do it in one jerky motion. So if I was to have a look at this one, and I feather up to the shot, and then I come back nice and long and go through the shot. And that just allows me to very gently and smoothly build the cue speed up, so I'm not having to tense all the muscles up in my back arm. So that's a common problem you see on those shots there. Players' cue actions will be too short, and it means that they're not able to generate the spin and the speed that they use with a nice smooth cue action. So there we go, hopefully some useful tips there so that you can control the cue much better. So we've got making sure that you have a plan before you get down. Make sure you've got a little pause in your cue action so that after your feathers you're preparing to play the shot nicely. A nice controlled backswing that's the right length, so you might want to have it a little bit shorter or a little bit longer, and then making sure that your delivery is nice and smooth and that it's not rushed. So if you enjoyed this video and you found it useful, please give the video a like, and if you want to see more instructional tutorials just like this one, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Cheers.